You feel it before you understand it. A pause that lasts too long, a smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a warmth that fades without explanation. This is not a story about heartbreak. It's about the moment before it, the part no one warns you about, the silent shift where love stops reaching for you and starts watching you instead. This is the truth people only realize after it's too late. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Today, we dive into the quiet signs someone is emotionally detaching from you while still holding your hand. It never starts with cruelty. That's how it gets away with it. At first, they're still there, still texting, still saying, "I love you." But something essential has already stepped back. They listen but don't lean in anymore. They respond but don't react. They're present without being with you. And you tell yourself you're imagining it because admitting the truth feels more dangerous than denial. Here's the first warning no one talks about. They stop arguing, not because things are better, but because you're no longer worth the energy. Disagreements once meant they cared enough to fight. Now they just nod, agree, let it go. And that silence feels like peace until you realize it's distance wearing a disguise. Then come the subtle rewrites. Moments you remember clearly suddenly didn't happen like that. Promises you relied on become misunderstandings. You start doubting your own memory, your tone, your timing. That's not communication breaking down. That's control quietly taking shape. They become hard to read on purpose. Affection turns inconsistent. Attention becomes conditional. When you're agreeable, they're warm. When you question them, they go cold. You begin adjusting yourself to keep them close without realizing you're shrinking. This is where emotional detachment gets dangerous, because they're not gone yet. They're hovering, close enough to keep you invested, far enough to stay unaccountable. They start needing more space, but can't explain from what or why. When you ask, they sigh, as if your confusion is the real problem, and slowly asking for clarity starts to feel like begging. Watch what happens to apologies. They still say sorry, but nothing changes. "I'm sorry you feel that way. I didn't mean it like that. I guess I'm just bad at relationships." These aren't apologies. They're exits disguised as concern. You begin replaying conversations alone, trying to find the exact moment you ruined things, trying to fix something they already abandoned emotionally. Here's the part that should terrify you. They start preparing their freedom while you're still fighting for connection. They detach privately, grieve quietly, move on internally. So when they finally leave, they're calm, relieved, and you're shattered, wondering how it happened so fast. But it wasn't fast. It was slow, calculated, invisible until it wasn't. They didn't wake up one day and stop loving you. They practiced leaving in small ways first. Less curiosity, less effort, less vulnerability, until love became optional. And here's the cruelest truth. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. Detachment feels safer than honesty. Withholding feels easier than confrontation. So they let the relationship decay quietly and let you blame yourself for the smell. By the time you sense the end, you're already alone inside the relationship, still loyal, still hopeful, still trying, while they're already gone. Ask yourself this: When was the last time they asked how you were and waited for the answer? When was the last time they chose closeness without being prompted? If you can't remember, that's not forgetfulness, that's evidence. Because emotional detachment doesn't announce itself, it erases you gradually. And the scariest part, people who master this pattern often repeat it. They leave partners confused, questioning reality, addicted to closure that never comes. So if something in you feels unsettled right now, if this sounds uncomfortably familiar, you might not be paranoid, you might be early. And the real question isn't whether they're pulling away, it's whether you'll notice before you're the only one still holding on.